What's up, everyone, and welcome back. I want to discuss with you the basics of D&D that Larian Studios intends to incorporate into Baldur's Gate 3. And we're going to focus on the rules of 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy as we delve into Baldur's Gate 3 basics. So, you may be asking yourself, what do I need to know for Baldur's Gate 3? How is this game going to work? And there's really not many basics that you need to know. General knowledge that you need is just how to basically play D&D. And that simply results down to you want to role play your character. You want to think, if I was this individual, how would I act? And this is going to result in you experiencing a wonderful, beautiful story that Larian has built. Now, some basics of how to play when it comes to the game is everything works off of a d20 roll system. You're going to roll and have a bonus to that roll, and you will have a DC or armor class that you're trying to meet or exceed. And doing so will give you success. Not doing so will result in failure. And sometimes those failures, though, do result in good stories. So, just because you fail a roll, especially a non-combat roll, don't fret about it. This can make the story even better than what your success ever could have. Now, assuming you succeed at what you do, you're going to get to roll damage on attack rolls. Let's say you cast a spell. Spells end up having players, they're either going to be a roll to hit spell, which will work the same as a weapon attack, or it's going to be a saving throw spell. And the creature is going to make the saving throw for their spell, and if they fail, then you'll get the full effects of the spell. A lot of spells, when the creature succeeds though, still do something. A great example of this is Fireball. It does a huge area of effect of fire damage, a lot of damage to anyone who fails a save, in game turns, 8 six-sided dice, and half as much to anyone who succeeds. And they can also light things on fire that are flammable, that aren't being worn or carried. So this leads to a variety of stuff that Larian can be doing, especially considering the fact that this company likes to have interactable terrain. So you could be catching areas of the terrain on fire after doing this major damage to continue doing more damage as the game progresses. So that's just the general of how you play. Now, the skill system is kind of similar. It's just going to be, you'll have an appropriate skill, you'll roll, you add your bonus. Beat the DC, you succeed. So this could be persuading a person to do what you want them to do, intimidating them to give you your way, trying to use sleight of hand to steal something, as we saw in one of our preview videos, or just your general stealth so that you don't get noticed. Combat system, as I've already started to explain, your weapons, you have melee weapons that are one-handed, two-handed. You've got your ranged weapons like bows and crossbows, even thrown weapons. And we've already seen that they're willing to expand this further and even let you throw things like your own boots to do damage. So, this is going to lead for a very interesting system. The big thing to know here is just know the basics of how your weapon of choice works. If you're using a bow, know that a long bow does a d8 of damage, while a short bow only does a d6, and a short bow has much shorter range. And as long as you understand how your weapon works, you'll do just fine. There's also going to be a bunch of different type of armor. Light armor, medium armor, and heavy armor. And no matter what type of armor you choose, it's going to be falling into one of those three groups. And how armor interacts with your character is going to depend on what group it's from. If it's heavy armor, unless it's magically benefited, it's always going to give you disadvantage on stealth, and it's just going to give you a straight AC. You're not going to have any effect from your dexterity. Medium armor, your dexterity gets to benefit you, and unless you're in the harshest of medium armor, you'll probably be fine on your stealth, but some of the harsher ones like half plate do give you disadvantage. But thankfully, when the game finally does introduce feats, you can pick up a feat known as Medium Armor Master to get rid of that. Now the downside of medium armor, even though it lets you add your dexterity bonus, it only lets you cap at 2 for that bonus. And once you can get Medium Armor Master, that's going to raise that cap to 3. So, you want to have a decent dexterity if you're going to do medium armor, but you don't need to have the highest dexterity in the world. And then lastly, light armor. Light armor lets you add your full dexterity bonus. And these are going to be for those extremely dexterous characters that are going to want to use this. People who are seeking to have those max values to get the best result. And speaking of attribute values, you have your attributes can range from as low as an 8 to as high as a 20, providing that magic doesn't affect this. Now this is going off the point buy system. They have discussed possibly bringing in a dice roll system, and in a dice roll system your number could go lower, but it still needs magic to go above that 20. And a 20 is only going to provide you a +5 for your bonus. So, if you're trying to min-max this, base it off of that +5. That is going to tell you what's the best that you can do, because we don't know what magic Larian's going to give us to let us go above that. There are magic items in the game that exist that bring it above that, but they are few and difficult to obtain. So I would not worry about going above the 20, except the fact that 20 is going to be the best that you can get. Lastly, spells. They're not just combat oriented. You also have healing. You have spells that make you better at skill checks. You have spells that just give you general benefits like turning invisible. And all spells are going to either use your plus to hit, or they'll have a DC to stop them from taking effect, or they just do a static effect that there is no check because it just does what it does. A great example of this is Cure Wounds. It heals 1d8 plus your casting modifier. And spells generally have an ability that you can upcast them to make them do more. Whether it lets you affect more targets, heal for more, do more damage, or produce a stronger generic effect. With this, I feel that you all know the general basics of how to play D&D, and you know it well enough if you've just taken everything that I've said to heart here, that when you start playing Baldur's Gate 3, you won't be lost. You'll know what to do, and you'll learn everything from there. The most important part moving forward, though, when we finally get to start the game on October 6th, is just have fun. Enjoy the story that you roleplay. Live it up. There's going to be a lot of enjoyment out there, and we're only getting to play Act 1. This is a chance to explore. This is a chance to develop and determine what type of roleplay you like. Be the hero. Be the villain. Be nefarious. Be extraordinary. Be heroic. Do what you need to do to find out how you will enjoy the story. That way, when we get the full game, you know what you want to do. You know who you want to be. This is what it's like to truly be a player in a Dungeons & Dragons game. And this is the high hopes that I have for Larian, that it looks like they'll do an epic job succeeding, is allowing us to really delve into our character and feel like we've become that character, because that is what a great D&D campaign is. And Larian's done a good job with that in their Divinity Original Sin games in the past. So here's hope that they do Baldur's Gate justice. I have no fear, and I can't wait to see you there.